Good morning, good morning. Welcome to the second vlog episode we're doing this week. As you can see, I've changed it up a bit. I've decided to do it from this side of my balcony. Um, the last one I did from that side. So yeah, thought it was time that we changed it up a bit. Let me know which side of the balcony you prefer. It'd be good to get your feedback on that. Yeah, I'm starting to go a bit crazy. So we promised that we would talk a bit about how we go about planning our trips, and this is sort of more personal for me than it is sort of as what the company does. And there's a few good tips. I'm going to talk about three different things, and I mentioned that this came from the Travel from Home campaign that we're doing. Again, go onto the website 2.4travel.com, big red button, check it out. And basically, what we're trying to do there is give people a really cool way to plan their next trips because we know that we can't travel at the minute, but part of the joy of travel is in the planning and the anticipation, and it's good to dream and look forward to it. So yeah, check that out. But I wanted to talk more about what I do when we're sort of going to travel. For those that haven't watched earlier vlogs, and shame on you if you haven't, and you should really go and watch them now. But I September 17th it was. My wife and my 2-year-old son and I headed off around the world, put everything in storage, and we went travelling for a year through Asia, Australia, and Central America, and a couple of other places. Um, and really, it was an amazing experience, but it's also quite a lot of work in terms of planning and what you're going to do, and you do get travel fatigued and things like that. But there's a lot of principles that we put in place that I think help no matter what you're going to do. Even if you're going for a weekend or you're going for a week away, you should try these out. So, number one, travel around your passion. Um, like I'm big into food, which shouldn't come as a surprise when you look at me. But I enjoy food, so I spend a lot of time planning where we're going to eat, what we're going to do. I hate the thought of walking up and down the street, looking in restaurant windows or at their menus, going, that looks nice. I'd rather go, no, this is the top place to eat, and that's not 5-star restaurants. I'm talking street food or that sort of diners and drive-ins and dives. If you've never seen that program, watch it. Guy Fieri. It's all based in the US, and we actually did a road trip in the US where we travelled the whole west coast, and we had a rule that we had to eat from one of his places every day, one of the places he had covered, and it was awesome. We travelled like an extra hour to eat green chili soup in this barn in the countryside, but really good fun. So that's a big passion of mine. I'm big into cycling, so I love going places where I know I can cycle, um, and that's so we do things like that. My wife is really into her adventure sports, much I'm into adventure sports in terms of cycling, hiking, that sort of stuff. But she throws herself off bridges and out of planes and things, and I ain't doing that. So we tend to look at what we're passionate about. Now that's obviously, I don't think it's changed since we've had children, but we've had to make adjustments. When our son was being born, our midwife said to us, the last thing she said before he was born was, "Look, that kid's coming into your world. Don't change everything just to accommodate them. They should just fit in with you." And of course, that sounds idealistic and things, and you do have to make adjustments. But we still travel for our passion, and as he gets older, we look to see what interests him and bring his passions in it, so that everybody's involved. And I think that's really important that you do that. So if you're a very active person, there's no point going like lying on a beach or booking 2 weeks on a resort where you don't leave it. You're only going to get annoyed by that. I think the second tip, so tip number two, is manage expectations of everybody involved. And I have a lot of difficulty with this with my wife. she sort of she wants to see and do absolutely everything in each destination. And again, that proved quite challenging when we were traveling because it's just impossible, and we were getting tired out. So we had to prioritize. We had to sort of go through what is there to see and do, and then make sacrifices and things like that, and put down the sort of priorities for it. So be realistic in terms of what you're going to achieve. If you're going for a weekend or you're going for a week, make sure that you build in rest time. Make sure that you build in travel time because it will be impacted. And if I sort of worry that, or I always feel that if you don't tick everything off the list that you set out to do, you feel sort of quite like you didn't achieve what you wanted. The third one I think is really important is when you're doing your research, don't just rely on things like TripAdvisor. Spend a bit of time looking for people that resonate with you. So, there's loads of reviews out there and you read them and you think, oh, we can't stay there. But if that person, if the author of that content isn't relevant to you and it doesn't resonate with you, then it's a worthless review. And it goes the same whether it be, publications, newspapers, magazines, content sites, all that. Really try and find people that have the same passions as you. So I spend a lot of time looking at blogs, and I look for people who live in country, who's passion around food, street food, all the wee places that you don't typically find as a tourist. And an example of that, when we were in Bogota in Colombia, I found this amazing restaurant. It was sort of a weird review, blog on it. And we got a taxi to where it was meant to be, and we couldn't find it. We were standing in the square, couldn't find anywhere. And I was like, no, it's definitely here. It's definitely here. And I asked the policeman. He didn't know anything about it, even though he'd worked that area for a number of years. And finally, this wee old man that was working on a stall came over and said, I know where you're looking for. And he took us down this sort of side alley. And it's just this nondescript brown door. And he gave it a knock. And the curtain got pulled back. And suddenly the door was open to us and we were shepherded inside. And that restaurant survived purely on word of mouth. There was no menu. You just ate what they were serving that day. And it was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. And that came through me finding people that sort of shared passion. So that's definitely something I'd recommend. I use Culture Trip a lot when I'm traveling because it really it resonates with me, the type of content that they put out, and it's very extensive. So there you go. 3 tips. 1, travel for your passion. 2, manage your expectations. And 3, make sure that the resources that you're using resonate with you. Don't just take sort of everyone's word for it. I think if you use those, you'll go. It'll improve the quality of your trip, in my opinion. So there you go. Thanks very much. This week has been another blast. I'm going to try and work out where we're going to have the next vlog from. It might be sort of behind us. But in the meantime, stay safe, stay healthy, and look forward to chatting to you again soon. Thanks.